Hello everyone, this is Nikita and I'm here with a video on data pages in Pega. So most of you have requested for this video and I feel this is important part of having a knowledge on because everything in Pega we do through data pages and it is one of the important rules to learn when we start out. So let's get to the things we will cover in this video on data pages. So the first thing is we will understand what is a data page, what is the caching mechanism it uses, and how do we create the data pages, how do we parameterize it, and several other stuffs. Then we will understand that how do we source the data pages. There are different ways we can do it. We can do it through report definition, otherwise through activity, data transform, connector, and there are several other options, but we'll cover this basics. Then we have the modes of data pages. It can be read-only, editable, savable. All of the modes are used in different scenarios, so there is no wrong or right. So we will understand that in which scenario we use what. Then coming to the structure of data pages. So basically we have two structures. It can be loaded through list or it can be loaded through a page. So we will take an example and understand this. Then there is a scope of data pages. There are three scopes through which we can load the data pages: node, requester, and thread. We will go through each one of them. Then there is a refresh strategy. There can be different type of refresh according to our scenarios. So we have reload once per interaction, do not reload when, and the other we will understand through that also as an example. So that's the thing we will cover in this particular video. So coming to the data pages, so it is a type of rule, as in Pega everything is done through a rule. So this is also a rule. But basically it fetches the data. So we use it for fetching a data. It is also a page, like I have shown in the debugging video that in clipboard there are number of pages, there are user pages, there are data pages, all of those kind of pages, right? So this is also a data page which you can see it in a clipboard under a section of data pages. So so what it does is what we have to do, we have to fetch the data from different classes. It can be like our data classes, it can be a work class, or it can be from some external sources. That also can be done. So that is the basics, and then it is used as a caching mechanism. So when we fetch the data pages, like we can hit a DB, right? So but hitting a DB every time we want the data can be very costly. So what we do is we hit the database once and then we save it in our memory, in our clipboard, and it acts as a caching mechanism which we can use it throughout our application to different modes of data pages. So that is why data pages actually saves more DB hits or more external source hit. When we calling some external source to fetch the data, maybe we do not want to call every time. We can just call once and save it in our memory if it is not something which changes every time. So that is why we use the data pages. And so I have explained that we can load the data page and reuse it for some particular amount of times according to our scenario. And then data page, how do we recognize that this page is a data page? So because there can be different number of pages in our application, might be we have created some page through page new in our activity, or some other pages have been created. To recognize that this is a data page, we started with D underscore, and declare underscore was a legacy way, so it was used before 7. So now it is used as D underscore. Now coming to parameterized, so to increase reusability, data pages can be parameterized, and with the value we pass, it loads according to that. So that's the basics of data pages. Now coming to the sources of data pages, report definition, activity, data transform, connector, all of those we will go through our application and maybe understand by an example. So coming to, let me check if I have some data pages already. Maybe we can take an example of an out-of-box data page also. Okay. Okay. So this is a type of page, data page. Yeah, we can understand from this now. So coming to the data sources, right? So when you click here, you can see that the number of sources through which we can call the data pages. So coming to connector, as we understand, connector is basically when we connect to some external system. So we can use a connector, and then accordingly we have to give the connector name which we might have created, like if it can be a REST connector or some other connector, and then we have to provide the name of the connector. So that's how you can source the data page through connector. Then second one is data transform. So yeah, you can call any data transform and then use that data transform to load data, to load the values in your data pages, right? So this is data transform. Then report definition. So report definition is basically is an interface or a query we write to fetch the data from database. So that's what this data page is doing. Data page, when we source it from a report definition, whatever name of the report definition we provide here, it goes to that report definition, checks what is the table which is mapped to that class of the report definition. Suppose if I give you an example, maybe some report definition. Now I cannot check here, maybe somewhere here. Okay, so this is a data table editor report. You can use that. So whatever name of the report definition you will provide, so accordingly, according to the report definition, it creates a query, and that query hits the database with the table like mapped to this particular class. So this class is the report definition on, and this would be mapped to one table in our database. So that's where you will get the data from. So when you get the data, you save it in this data page. So this is report definition. Then you have a lookup. Lookup is basically when you see lookup, you will have a class name which you can give here. So that class will, whatever it has, the value it has, it can fetch and save it in this particular data page. So that's what lookup is. Next is activity. Similar to data transform, you can have an activity. You can fetch anything from the DB, or in the activity you can also call a report definition, or in the activity you can save some data in this data page, and accordingly this can be loaded. Then there is some different sources which we would cover in the advanced video we will create. So for basics, I think that is enough for us to understand, right? So this was the sources of data pages. Coming to the modes of data page, there are three basic modes: read only, editable, and savable. So coming to read only, what happens is, suppose if we want to have some data from somewhere, and which we do not want the user to edit. So this is something which is a read-only data page. So that's what the user doesn't have access to change anything in that data page. That's called read-only data page. And coming to editable, the name makes you understand what can be the editable data page. So this page or this data page has the advantage where the user can edit the data page and save the value in this particular data page. So yeah, so this is editable. Savable has some extra feature where you can edit also, and you can then save it in your database. So you can see there is an extra option coming up. So you can do a database save in that class, whichever class you want to save it, and then you can have an extra data transform and validate rule. So these are the three modes of data pages. Coming to the structure of data page, so list and page, these are the two structures which we get. So you can see here page and list. Page is just one page you would be able to see, but the list is like you have several values which you can fetch from some particular table in the database or anywhere, and then you can show it to the user. So this is page and list. Now scope. Scope is node, requester and thread. So so you can see here why it is now coming as only thread and requester is you have kept it as. So when you kept the mode as read only, you would see that there are three options: thread, requester and node. So let me explain you one by one. So what does data page with the scope of node does is whoever accesses this application, all the requesters with all the threads will see the same value of the data page. So it's not user specific, it is node specific. So in that particular node, all the requesters will see the same value of the data page. So that's node. So if I give you an example, a node data page can be a list of currencies which will not change with each user. Yeah. Coming to the next one is requester. So requester data page is basically a particular requester. Throughout his journey of the application, he might be going through different stages. So when he logs in, a particular data page is loaded. If a requester data page is loaded, this same data page would be reused throughout his journey, right? Throughout his login journey. So that is basically requester's scope data pages. It will not change for that particular user. When the other user logs in, he will see a different value. So that is because there is requester changes, right? So that is particular to a requester data page. Next one is thread data page. So thread data page is basically within the same thread. Okay, within the same thread, if this data page is loaded, the same data page would be reused if needed within the thread. Okay, within the thread it would be same. Within the request it can be different. I'm just saying within the thread it would be same. So that's the three type of scope. Coming to refresh strategy, let me show you how does it look. So this is basically the tab, load management tab, where you see different kind of refresh strategy. So this particular page management, clear data page, this is used to flush the data page. And what I mean by flushing the data page is like if you have loaded the data page and you want it to be again do the sourcing from the whatever source you specify there in the data page. So that's when you will flush the data page. It can be manually done through here when the developer can do it for some reasons, right? For his testing or his development work. And other way is we can do it through a function. We have different kind of function to flush the data page, where we can specify the parameter as the name of the data page, and the data page can be cleared or flushed. So that's where a clear data page comes into picture. Coming to refresh strategy. So as you can see that there are this reload once per interaction. So what it basically does, every interaction, everything you do in UI, for each UI this particular data page would be again reloaded. So what I mean by reload is, again it will go to the source, do whatever activity you have specified in activity, or if it is a connector, again going to the connector and fetching the value. So that's what it will do, reload once per interaction. Do not reload when, here we can specify a when condition. So whatever when condition you will specify, it will check whether it is true or false. So when it is true, it will do not reload, so it will not load. But if it's false, it will load. So that's how it checks its refresh strategy of the data page. Now this one is reload if older than. So suppose you want to specify some time, days, hours or minute or second, after which it should again load the data page. So maybe you have some scenario where this data page changes maybe every day 5 a.m. or something. So what I can do is I can just do it as reload if older than 1 day, and then when 1 day passes, this data page would again go to the source and fetch the value. So that's how we can have our refresh strategy configured. Now coming to limit to a single data page, what basically it means is, I have told you that there can be parameterized data page, right? So this particular data page with some parameter, suppose I have some parameter here, according to the parameter I give, there can be a number of data page loaded in the clipboard. So if I give you an example, suppose this is a clipboard and here you see some data page. Let me show you maybe some thread level data page. So suppose I have a data page here, and again the same data page is there but with the different parameter. So this particular bracket, whatever you see after the bracket, these are all parameters. So this is parameter name, this is parameter value. So if suppose I have the same data page but different parameters here, if I do not want this to happen, I just want only one parameter, the data page with only one parameter to be here at one time, then I can just make it as limit to a single data page. So what will happen is, whatever is the newest data page with a parameter, only that will stay in clipboard, other would be removed. So that's how it is. So that was the basics of the data pages. Coming to the post load processing. Now why we use a post load processing here? So okay, so I have told you that there can be connector, there can be activity, there can be report definition, number of sources of data page, right? But maybe there is a scenario where after you source the data page, there is some post processing you want to do in the data page, right? So maybe you want to add some value, or with some logic you want to change some value, you want to update some value after the sourcing is done. So in that scenario, we just add some activity here, maybe some activity here, and after this data page sources the particular from some particular whatever you specify here, it would go to the post load processing, do its processing, and then come back. So that was all about the theory of the data pages. Like whatever we have covered here very theoretically, and I have shown you how does it look in Pega. But now coming to the applications, how we apply this in every different scenarios, for that we will have another video where I will explain each of the data page modes through a practical example. This was all about this video. Thank you all for watching my video. See you again in my next video. Keep watching till then, and please subscribe to my video, like my video, comment and share it. Thank you so much. See you again till we meet. Bye.